Now, if you've got any savings right now, you want to make sure you're obviously getting the highest possible rate of interest on that money. So you're making as much money as possible. The real aim here, not just to get as high as possible, but you want to be at least beating the rate of inflation. So in this video, my February 2021 update for savings accounts in the UK, I'll share with you a little bit of information about what's been going on in savings over the last month. And I'll also move on and tell you about the top accounts, the ones that are going to pay you the most amount of interest. Now, this is building on, if you didn't already see this, the video that I did at the start of 2021 in January, my top three savings accounts in the UK. Everything in there, you can watch the video, I linked to it up here, that is still relevant. Those accounts are still available and they are still the ones I think you should go to first of all. Basically give you an idea, if you've got up to £8,000 in savings and then if you can afford to put around £400 away every single month, that combo I think is the best one for you, so check that out. But of course you might have different needs, you might have different requirements, so I will in a moment take you through the best regular savers, the best 1 year fix, the best notice account, the best easy access account and the best ethical account right now. Obviously these can change and they do change monthly, weekly, daily. The rates move around all the time. So I'd also recommend, and I will link to it below here, that once you've watched this video, you do click over to my blog, becleverwithyourcash.com, and read the article there because it's much easier for me to update that article on the fly when a new account, a new best buy comes along ahead of the next one of these updates in March 2021. Right, let's talk about some savings news very quickly before we move on to those top accounts. A couple of things worth sharing with you. One of them is around the spectre of negative interest rates. Now, you might already know this, that the base rate of the Bank of England based rate of interest, which although we don't personally bank with them, all the other lenders, all the other banks, they do, and a lot of the savings accounts that we have, the rate we've got will vary if the interest rate drops. Now at the moment it's at 0.1%. It has been for a long time, but there has been, this kind of risk, this kind of rumours that potentially we could go into a negative interest rate at some point. Now there was speculation that could happen in 2020, didn't happen. But just a few weeks ago, one of the 9 members of the Bank of England board who decide what happens with interest rates very publicly said that they think we should be going to a a negative interest rate. And it could well be that that is something that does happen in the coming months. Who knows? It's been speculated for a while, but it does feel like there's more momentum going towards it. If that was to happen, what would that mean for your savings? Well, very likelihood is the rates would drop again, which isn't great for us at all and great for your savings. However, I do think it's incredibly unlikely, as I've said before, I think it's incredibly unlikely that banks would start charging us to have money in our accounts. Although that could happen, it is a possibility. I think what we'd see, if you think about it, if we're currently at 0.1% as the base rate, let's say we went to minus 0.1 or minus 0.4, whatever it might be, there are still accounts that are paying much more than that. So they may well drop, but they wouldn't necessarily drop below zero. So I think it's unlikely that that would happen. Obviously, keep in touch, check out these videos and updates that I produce here. Hit subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss the future videos. If that's to happen, I'll give you more details, but that's just a bit of information there. But we've also seen, as we have been over the last few months, more and more accounts reducing their rates. And the big one that lots of people might have their money with, it's worth knowing about, is the Santander 123 account. Now, there are 2 Santander 123 accounts, the main one and the light one. This is about the main one. Forget the light one. We'll deal with that when we talk about current accounts. But the main account, this one for a £5 a month fee, gives you cash back on your bills, which is great, but also 0.6% interest on your savings up to 20k. Well, Santander announced just a few weeks ago that they are going to cut that in half to 0.3%. They're also reducing the fee from £5 to £4, so it's not like exactly a 50% cut on the money you'll make, but it still is a huge amount at less interest that you will earn on any savings you've got there. If you have a Santander 123 account, you need to move those savings out. Even now, even before the interest rate cut happens in a few months' time to that account, move that money out because you can get higher rates, as I'll share with you very shortly. And if you still want to get cash back on your bills, then move it over to that Santander 123 Lite. But it hasn't been for a long time a good account for your savings, and it's definitely not a good account for your savings. So they're the main 2 things to share with you around savings. There have been other cuts and stuff going on, but they're the main ones. So let's now have a look at the best accounts for your money. Now I want to start off with the highest paying one, the one that offers the highest rate of interest. This isn't one that I mentioned in my top 3 accounts, and I'll explain why in a minute. But if you absolutely want to get the top rate, then you can look at the NatWest or RBS Digital Regular Saver. Now, this is only open to people who already have a NatWest or RBS account. You could, of course, open a bank account with them, a current account with them to get this account. But I wouldn't bother, because although it pays 3.04%, which is heads and shoulders above everything else you're going to get out there, you can only save 50 quid every single month. And once you've saved £1,000 in that account, you'll stop earning interest as well. So yes, you will get far more interest in terms of the rate of interest than anywhere else, but the actual return you'll get, the actual money you'll make for going through the effort of doing this isn't much at all, because I say only 50 quid a month. It's not that exciting. So what I would do is only open this up if you have a NatWest or RBS account, put 50 quid aside, get that 3%. There's no harm. You may as well get a little bit of money, and it's a nice way of farming some money aside rather than have it sitting in your account. But for the rest of you, I wouldn't bother with that account at all. The next highest amount of interest you can get are in two current accounts. Now, one of them I did speak about in detail in my best accounts for 2021, the Virgin Money current account, which pays 2.02% variable for a year on savings up to £1,000. That is still my top pick, I think, for your money. If you've got £1,000 in savings, you may as well open up one of these accounts, put your £1,000 in there and just earn that money. Again, not a huge amount of cash that you are going to get over the year, but you may as well do that, because at least you will have that £1,000 beat the rate of inflation, which the last one was reported last month was 0.6%. 0.6% is the rate of inflation. That's what we want target. We want to try and beat if we can. I'll come back to that Virgin account in a minute later on. The other one, which I have recommended to you guys before, is the Nationwide Flex Direct account. You can only open this once to get their introductory offer. It's 2% for a year, fixed. That's the difference to the Virgin one. It's fixed for a year, 2%. And you can get that amount on £1,500 that is saved. So it is better than the Virgin one in some ways, because you get the interest on more money and there's no risk of it disappearing, but it is just for 12 months. And the reason why I'm sort of now saying maybe don't go for this, even though it's fixed, is because 2% of £1,500 isn't a lot of money, really, in the scheme of things. And once you've had that introductory year, you can't get it again. And let's say interest rates go up rather than down. Might be a while before that happens, but let's say they do, and this account is still open to you. Then you're losing the chance to maybe earn 3%, 4%. It used to be 5%. I think it was 6% before that as well. You lose that chance. And I think it's probably not worth it just for the small amount of money you'll get. But if you're a completist and you want to, then you can check that one out. The next one with the highest rate you can get is another regular saver. This is the Club Lloyds regular saver. You have to have a Club Lloyds current account. Again, I go into more detail about this one in that other video. But this will earn you 1.5% interest every single month. That is fixed for 12 months. So if rates do fall elsewhere, if you've already got that account, then you won't see that dip down. And what's lovely about this regular saver compared to the NatWest one, you can put £400 aside every single month. So over the year, if you do it the full £400, you can do less, but if you do the full £400 for a full 12 months, £4,800 you've got saved up. Fantastic. And you're earning 1.5%, which, let's face it, is probably as good as you're going to get over the next year. Now, if you do want another regular saver, check out the Coventry Building Society one, 1.3%, which is variable. You can save up to £500 into that account every single month. But since it is variable, it could drop down, and it has done over the last year. I think it was around 2.5% or something at some point in 2020, gradually gone down and down, now 1.3%. But it's worth checking out, particularly if you've got more money to put aside every month, or you don't want to check out that Club Lloyds one, because 1.3% is still better than you're going to get in most other places. Right, let's go beyond that now. Let's go to the kind of the fixes. So one of the things, if you're worried about negative interest rates coming along, you're worried about the rates dropping again, then potentially you could look at fixing your money and putting it aside and locking it away. If you do this, you put it away, you are generally going to get higher rates than you will in easy access. But if you want to get your money out of that account, you either won't be able to at all, or you'll forfeit that penalty interest as a penalty. The next best rate is 1.25% via the Chip Savings app. Now, I've gone into more detail on this one. I've got a whole review that you really should check out over on the blog if you want to get this one, because it's not a normal savings account, but you can get 1.25% on up to £2,000. You can earn it again on another £3,000 above that, but then you've got to pay a fee, which wipes out a lot of that interest. So really look at this as an account to save £2,000 and earn 1.25%. Again, I've got more detail about that if you want to check that out. Now, if you are concerned about negative interest rates, one thing you might want to do to mitigate that is to lock your money away in a fix. That means that that rate is locked, it can't change. So if we do have negative interest rates, everything drops. You're still going to be secure in getting what's on offer. Now, these aren't amazing. They are a lot less than they were 2 or 3 months ago, 6 months ago. You know the drill. The best one for you right now at the time of recording this is a 0.85% 1-year fix with Al Rayyan Bank. Now, this is a Sharia account, so rather than giving you interest, they give you a expected return. But essentially, you're going to get the money. They just can't say interest under Islam. The minimum deposit there is £5,000, so quite a lot of money. If you want something for a little bit cheaper, then you can look at Zopa. Their 1-year fix is giving you 0.6% interest, so a fair bit less, but you can start a deposit with just £1. Obviously, it'd be silly to lock away just £1, but if you've got 500, 1,000, 2,000, if you haven't got that 5 grand, it's the next best one to look at. Now, slightly different to a fix is something called a notice account. This is where to get your money, you have to give a certain amount of time notice. So it could be 4 months, 3 months, whatever it is. The one I'm going to share with you right now is a 95-day notice account. So you have to say, look, I want this money, and you won't be able to access it for 3 months and a little bit. This is with Moneybox, which is a savings app, so you can open this account via that app. The rate there is a 0.6%. That is variable. It could change, but they will have to give you notice on that. Or if they do drop it, I haven't checked it with this particular one with Moneybox, but generally they let you take your money out without penalty in that case. Minimum deposit on that one, as I said, is only £1, so giving you a much better option if you don't have a huge amount of cash. After that, or if you've got like money you need access to, right? You know you're going to need access to it, and you want to get it as high as rate as you possibly can, and it's more than the money you could put aside in, say, that Virgin Money that Virgin Money account. Then unfortunately the rates aren't good, and right now they aren't beating inflation. As I said, inflation is 0.6%. The best one for you is with Synergy Bank, and it's actually an ISA, which doesn't make any difference really in terms of this because you're not earning much interest. It's an ISA account. It does obviously mean there's a limit of how much you can pay in of £20,000 in this financial year. And only if you haven't already got a cash ISA, you can't open it, but you will get 0.55%. So that's worth looking at. If you've already got a cash ISA for this year, then maybe look at Virgin Money. I said I'd come back to that current account, which offered the £1,000 to earn 2% interest. That also comes with a linked savings account, currently paying 0.5%. And there's no limit on how much money you can put in there compared to that ISA with Synergy Bank. But obviously you don't want to have more than £85,000 in any savings account with any institution, current account, whatever it might be, because that's the limit for protection in case the bank was to go bust. So they're the main ones to tell you about. Quickly touch, I said I would, on ethical banking. 2 accounts I've already mentioned are your best bets. Nationwide, again, with all the caveats I said to you in terms of it being fixed for a year and maybe this isn't time for it, but Nationwide as a building society is a pretty ethical institution to put your money in. You'll get, say, 2% on £1.5 grand saved in there just for 12 months. After that, it drops down to 0.25%. Or talking about fixes, the Sharia account that I mentioned from Al Rayyan Bank, which offers, what did I say? It was 0.85% for 1 year. Generally, the Sharia accounts are considered to be quite ethical because under Islam, there's certain practices where the money cannot be spent, such as alcohol or gambling or tobacco and things like that. So again, they're generally a little bit better for your money. Hope that was useful. Big long rundown. As I said, these accounts can change, but they hopefully give you an idea of what is out there right now. If you have found it useful, please do hit the like button. Maybe leave me a comment below. It already helps YouTube share this video with more people. The reason I do this is to help people with their finances. So the more people who watch it, the more successful I am at doing that. So yeah, hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it. And don't forget, hit that subscribe button as well so you don't miss out on the updates to this video every single month and everything else I'm producing on the content on the channel. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, cheers. And here are a couple more videos you might find interesting.